approach? Do members come over to talk to him, to shake hands? All of these things will kind of tell us little snippets of how things are going tonight and where the momentum, if you will, is.
Let's go to Jorge, who's outside the White House as we watch the motorcade depart. Jorge?
Yeah, Libby. So I think one thing that JM touched on a little bit is just not just the substance of what the president says tonight, but how he says it. Obviously, a lot of concerns have been made about his age and how he's be able to communicate. So I think just how he talks tonight. JM mentioned just, if they could have how he sounded and how he acted last year again, that would put, I think, a lot of Democrat lawmakers and Democrats at ease. So really paying attention to not just what he's saying, but how he's delivering this message is going to be a key component as the Biden team moves through the summer, the spring and the summer into the fall.
Rondo, we're watching two familiar faces there from the House, Democrats from the House.
Jamie
Let's talk
Raskin
about what you're watching tonight in terms of the dynamics of this chamber.
Civility, decorum. We know we have covered times when speeches, you've heard people in the crowd, members in the crowd, interject. We remember the You Lie moment years ago with President Obama. We remember last year, Marjorie Taylor Greene spoke out. I do know that Speaker Johnson has asked his side to remain civil, do not do that. So we'll see if that holds. But again, and I've covered this extensively over the last year. This is a House that has had to deal with its own tangles, its own inter-party struggles in the Republican caucus. There have been shoves on Capitol Hill in the last year. There have been, terse words said, things that you just didn't think would happen in the Capitol. So this is a different set of people and set of dynamics that Joe Biden, even though he spent so many years here, would not have encountered. So he is coming into a chamber where it is a different world. How will Joe Biden bring, that classic politician to this speech, but also know that this is a new day in our politics? There are members of his party that do want him to be a bit more forceful, given that his political opponent in the general, Donald Trump, is incredibly forceful. So what type of Joe Biden are we going to see? And we've been talking about how big this speech is right now. Yes, it is big, but do remember we are months away from the general election, and one speech probably cannot accomplish everything for the Biden campaign in terms of being reelected. So, I'm interested in looking at how long this speech is too. We've talked about how last year was his longest. Is this going to be shorter and more to the point? What are we going to get from a president who is in both times as president in difficult times internationally and domestically, but also as a candidate has, a real uphill battle because of his numbers?
James, we're hearing the speaker gavel in.
Yeah. The joint session will come to order. The chair appoints as members of the committee on the part of the House to escort the President of the United States into the chamber. The gentleman from Louisiana, Mr. Scalise. The gentleman from Minnesota, Mr. Emmer. The gentlewoman from New York, Ms. Stefanik. The gentleman from North Carolina, Mr. Hudson.
So, James,
the gentleman
as we
from Alabama,
hear this
Mr. Palmer.
By the Speaker of the House, let's talk about why the Speaker has asked his caucus to stay polite and civil. There's a political agenda here at play.
Yeah, they don't want, they want it to be civil. They don't want the story to be Joe Biden using the do-nothing Republican Congress as a foil. We'll see. It's like herding cats. It's really hard. You saw Marjorie Taylor Greene wearing a T-shirt on the floor a minute ago. Lauren Boebert told reporters as she walked into the chamber that she doesn't know whether she's going to have an outburst tonight.
It's really hard to have a room full of adults, to ask a room full of professional lawmaking adults to be civil. It's like herding cats, guys. Yeah. It's like herding cats,
Seen, but you also saw James Lankford, who was the Republican who negotiated the border deal that Biden is going to talk about tonight. Republican from Oklahoma, he actually voted to overturn the 2020 election.
Don't you love it? How all the lefties are cheering him on? Yay, good job trying to pass the most right-wing immigration legislation ever. Yay, good job, Joe. I just don't understand why you're not more popular amongst your base.
Pelosi's no longer the speaker. She's now Speaker Emerita, but she's still there chit-chatting with Chuck Schumer, the Democratic Majority Leader in the Senate. And it's a testament to
Well, isn't
how
that great?
much,
Can't get
she's
rid of her.
obviously sat, where Mike Johnson is
Just
sitting
can't get rid of
in many
Nancy.
previous years.
That's great. Oh, didn't I show a couple days ago she had another really amazing stock pick? Picked another winner, that Nancy. Man, she picked the wrong job. She should have been a hedge fund manager.
Court justices may certainly be in attendance. JM, let's go to you next.
Yeah, Libby, this is something where there are certain seats in this that are assigned, right? So the vice president, the Speaker of the House, obviously sit behind the president. You have some justices of the Supreme Court, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the Diplomatic Corps are all in the well of the House there. So kind of the front row, our viewers can see on the screen there, closest to the
All right, so we're going to be going in about 5 minutes, folks, and we're going to get going here. 5 minutes. GOP are going to make big asses out of themselves. Well, they did the last 2 times. Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert tried to start a build that wall chant. Of course, this all started when the Republicans, during the Obama era, he's now all buddy-buddy with the Republicans now, or he's all buddy-buddy with the Democrats now, but who was it, Joe something? He shouted, "You lie," to Obama. Now, me personally, of course, I don't give a fuck about decorum, right? But I guess it is something to focus on. Must be awkward up there with the VP and that speaker dude.
For the House and Senate overall.
They're supposed to be professionals.
This is just a part of American tradition.
Oh, you remember that? Remember that door in January 6th when they were breaking down the window? You know, they had it barricaded. They had something across it. And then the January 6th guys broke down the window, and the cop with the gun, right, putting the gun right in the guy's face, and the guys behind, you know, so the January 6th dudes, the guys behind him were all like, "Yeah, go, can't kill us all, can't kill us all." And then the guy with the camera, who's like right up front staring at this gun, he's like, "Guys, come on, guys, let's calm down, guys." Yeah, that was MTG last time. She's sure to give us a good show. Apparently, MTG has been removed from Donald Trump's shortlist for vice president. Or MTG. She looks really broken up about it.
He has, of course.
Everyone's wearing white over here. Is this some kind of cult thing? Are they going to like ritualistically Hari or some shit at the end of the speech?
The times Americans are in. He's also, we haven't talked about this tonight.
Why are all these folks wearing white?
Touch on the economy. You know, a lot of voters are saying, "I can't afford bread. I can't afford milk.
Bummer.
Everything's
no
going
MTG
up.
vice president.
He's going to address that too
I almost said
tonight.
principal.
So we'll see if that does strike a tone and maybe turn the tide of how Americans are feeling and their perception of the economy.
Here we go.
But again, it's one speech.
We're going to see the Supreme Court justices come in now.
By the way, there's supposed to be a live Trump reaction stream. I wasn't able to find it. Can anyone find this live Trump reaction stream?
Besides
these justices. Yeah, these horrible justices. This captured court. Oh, yeah, give them front row seats. Oh, give them all respect. Honorable. You mean this court that was easily corrupted by Mitch McConnell? The court that Mitch McConnell made his bitch? Oh, yeah, bow down for this court. This embarrassment. This absolute joke to our democracy. Yeah, the Supreme Court. Bunch of fucking frauds is what you are. Bunch of liars, too. A lot of these jokers said that they weren't going to touch Roe v. Wade. This joker said it, I think. I know this joker said it. This joker said it. Oh, we're not touching Roe v. Wade. We're not touching Roe v. Wade. That's what they said, the fucking liars. I'm afraid to even Google that. I'm telling you, apparently he's doing some kind of live stream reaction. I don't know. No one has the link. No one has the the deets.
This reminds you of how basically our whole system right now is engaged somehow in the next election.
James, we've also
they're engaged. Supreme Court's gonna I don't know.
Anthony Kennedy, right in the shot
shit on
behind
them
Justice
enough, I guess.
Jackson. Justice Kavanaugh holds his seat. Kavanaugh actually clerked for him. So did Gorsuch. And
who's this guy?
That's their prerogative. There are also former members there.
Oh,
George
former
Santos
members,
is actually in the
okay.
House, even though he was expelled from Congress a few months ago. There's reporting that he had drinks with some of the New York Democratic members, including his antagonists. So it brings out all types, the pageantry, and a desire to hear
this is
what's going to
pathetic.
happen.
Amy Coney Barrett
I'm gonna hate this speech. I'm gonna absolutely hate this speech, dude.
you to the justices attend.
It shows that this is all three branches of government coming together.
No clearance. Yeah, I
Our
don't know.
differences are smaller than what unites us. That there is a reverence for the institution, even though the court is going to strike down things that the president is doing or the Congress is doing. That this is a moment where this is one of the very few moments left where there's really the entire civic culture coming together, and it is meaningful to project that to the world.
I was about to say
on.
Ice
The
King.
Sweden
Yeah,
joint
he's
meeting.
probably at some kind of fancy restaurant or something with a bunch of his donors watching
Shout out to
this.
the Prime Minister.
This guy's a real
Sweden.
piece of work.
And
Pro
this
Jan
is-
6,
it's a reflection
pro
of
insurrection,
that, of the
happy to
US
install a
projection
fascist
to the world.
dictatorship and to
JM?
replace our democracy,
Yeah, Libby,
and happy to
I
have a
think it's
little
also
piece of the
important to
pie
note here as we
afterwards.
see, Justice
And he
Ketanji
just
Brown
gets to
Jackson
sit there like he's not a seditious
Sheila Jackson Lee
traitor.
from Texas.
Isn't that great?
By the way, we were talking
All
a
these
moment ago about
seditious
what
traitors, these people that are like, yep, dismantle our entire system.
for decades.
Honorable this and that.
Throughout all these State of the Unions, getting
And here's
words in
Nancy
with presidents, so
Pelosi,
that's,
one of the
that's
most
an interesting
corrupt
scene there.
neoliberals in
But I think
existence.
it's important to note here.
Continues to enrich herself with her special knowledge that she gets in her position. Was responsible for crushing Bernie Sanders, partially responsible.
Static thing.
Never saw a progressive movement she didn't want to destroy,
example.
Nancy
But when there's a
Pelosi.
joint session of Congress, we get all these different camera views in, and it's really just a great sense of who's talking to whom.
Oh my
and
God,
especially
who
for,
the
for
hell
House watchers, because you
cares?
can kind of tell sometimes when. Especially during votes, when deals are being made, when certain members are being pressured to maybe.
What is
change
this
their
guy going on
a
about?
certain way. One other thing I wanted to point out, Libby, is that.
Call me
Biden
idealistic, but I don't
stated
feel like the
last
GOP has a
year
fart's
was-
chance in a storm, but people seem worried. Well, the poll numbers, that's why. So here's the question, right? So people point out, I cannot believe he's actually there. I cannot actually believe he's allowed in the building. He is every single thing that is wrong with Congress, George Santos. He is every single thing that is wrong with this body. And he's allowed to be there. And Joe Biden's cool with this, and the Democrats are cool. It's every. I just saw a picture of George Santos. George Santos is there, folks. Our 2023 Dumbass of the Year award winner, George Santos. But no, back to what your comment there, Ice King, fucking Lindsey Graham piece of shit. Back to your comment. The people point out that abortion is going to hurt the Republicans, that the extremism is going to hurt the Republicans, and that what we're going to see is not a bunch of people flipping from Republican to Democrat. We're going to see a lot of Republicans sit at home, right? They're just going to, oh yeah, I love Trump. Every poll that, anybody that asks them, all their buddies, oh yeah, I love it. But they're just not going to, they're going to find time. They're just, not going to find the time for it, right? People point out that for the Democrats, their weaknesses, Gaza is a big weakness. Young people, are not going to show up like they did for Obama. And there's no reason to think that they would. Joe Biden has not done enough for young people. no matter what MSNBC says, trying to blow smoke up our ass. Oh, Biden's done all these things for students. Yeah, no, he introduced a bunch of shit. Then he whittled it down to a fucking toothpick of a policy. And, you know, I don't even think, have even a million students been affected by his policy? Or is it just, 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 people? Not exactly a earth-shattering amount of people. The question is all that, the reason why I'm bringing up both sides there is that, is it going to equal out? You know, is it just going to be, is it going to still be basically 50-50 really tight margins because both sides have their own specific problems that are going to keep people from being enthusiastic about them? But that doesn't mean, of course, the partisans aren't still going to show up. Yeah, Ice King, you're not wrong. And the polls also reflect people that are political in when it's not a political climate. You know, in America, people don't get serious. There's like millions of people who don't get serious about the presidential election until like the last 3 to 4 months. Pro-sedition, pro-January 6th, pro-January 6th, pro-January 6th, pro-January 6th. All 4 of these individuals should be behind bars. They are either pro-insurrection, pro-Project 2025, dismantle our democracy, and they get to sit there like they're regular people, like they're regular-ass politicians, like they're not actively scheming to destroy all of this. I love it. And the Democrats, they're just letting it happen, man. I'm not saying the Democrats should be weaponizing the Justice Department. You know what I mean? Like Trump is going to. Like Trump wants to, or like all these little toadies want to. But these people committed crimes against the country. And I don't care if they're wearing a suit and people voted for them. They're citizens that committed a fucking crime. They plotted against the entire system, man. And I'm over here lefty. I'm like, fight the system. But now I got to defend it because it's like, well, I want to fight this. I don't want to completely dismantle the entire country and change our way of government. I don't want to change it from a democracy to a autocracy. I don't want to change my democracy to a dictatorship. That's not the activism. That's not the change I'm talking about. Change I'm talking about is, of course, making our democracy better. The most radical of ideas, apparently. Coburn, there's another neoliberal failure. Happy to use the civil rights movement for his own neoliberal political gains. Is this Tuberville right here? The guy that's holding back over 1,000 military appointments? Holding back all of them for Trump? Yeah, these holes in democracy need to be patched up ASAP. It might already be too late. This might be the election that is the final nail. We might, if we're lucky, get an extra 4 years.
Through their buttons and pins and through their guests, James.
Yeah, so the white ribbons, we talked about the white that the Democratic women are wearing. That's for reproductive freedom and abortion rights, IVF.
They're literally making me stupider listening to them. Where's old Joe here? He's like 10 minutes late. What's the holdup? Brisk iced tea. Man, this stuff is sugary. This shit is like, how much sugar is in this? Oh, Lordy, 18 grams. Why is she in the building, man? Is it Joe time? Is it Joe time, guys?
Were taken by Hamas
not
on
go
October
time.
7th. And you can see
Joe time.
Doug Emhoff, the second gentleman.
Oh, we got a token Native American guy. That's great. Thank you for allowing yourself to be used as a tool for our cynical politics. Thank you so much. All right.
They're in the building now. That's
Oh.
the second gentleman waving at his wife. She's laughing.
But Joe does arrive very rock star like. Late
People
is a
do
very
use this,
pro
you know,
move,
Troy
yeah.
Nehls, a Republican congressman.
Yeah,
from
no,
Texas.
he's a rock
He's
star.
wearing a T-shirt with Donald Trump's
Joe Biden.
shot on it.
You want me to show you the clip of Johnny Carson making fun of Joe Biden? That's a real thing. We got a president that was referenced by Johnny fucking Carson. I'll bet half the room didn't take their lactose pills. Uh-oh. Think it smells like farts in there? It smells like old. It probably smells like an old folks home in there.
One of the most
That's really
outspoken
cruel.
critics
That's
of the
mean. No, we're not
president.
going to
So
do
this
that.
just tells you how some of these dynamics.
No, that's disrespectful.
There are odd couples. Yeah.
With that said, our government is a gerontocracy, and term limits now.
Working with the Biden
Here we go.
administration
There's
closely
Joe.
to try to get money
Wait.
for Ukraine.
Oh, wait. That's
which is one
like-
of his big priorities. So it's funny
That's
how
Joe's
the tables
life-
can turn
life-
as you see
life
the First
mate.
Lady Jill Biden come in and
Oh,
the-
thank
the
you.
room
Thank
kind
you.
of
I did marry Joe
politely
Biden.
applaud.
I did. I married him.
Rhonda, the First Lady's
Wow.
guests are very
Congratulations.
significant. You can see some of them flanking her
Congratulations.
right now. And
Wow.
the White House has chosen
Wow.
people who represent.
Did you know
a range of
she's getting a
issues,
terrible seat.
from
Why does she get such a
IVF and
terrible
fertility,
seat?
A real issue right now, given
Way up in the
ruling in
motherfucking
Alabama.
nosebleeds, dude.
A plumber in Milwaukee who's been able to replace lead
All right,
pipes
shut-
and
shut
expand
up.
his
Shush, shush,
business.
shush.
Looking at the priorities there.
The president's cabinet.
President's cabinet is coming in.
Well, these are
Also
people. What
looking
is she
at some of
talking
the
about?
other
I'm sorry.
spending priorities that the administration has succeeded with. Native American tribal leaders
carrying
working
in
with the
furniture.
administration
Yeah, that'd
to
be
modernize infrastructure on
That's like a
tribal
Monty
lands.
Python skit.
So they're really
A
trying
bunch
to
of
reflect
furniture starts
what
walking
they view as
in.
their accomplishments and passing
Pretty
legislation.
old-fashioned to
but
have
also
someone's spouse have
priorities.
authority in the
As we see
government,
there,
like really
the
old-fashioned.
cabinet
I mean, it's
come
not
in. We'll be
authority in the
watching to see
government.
who might be left behind.
It's a
James,
you
talk to
know,
us.
I will.
Yeah,
I
there's
will.
also-
We're still waiting to
token
know officially who the so-called designated
initiatives,
survivor
right?
is.
It's not
But what's striking
authority.
is no Merrick Garland. That might be by choice. You know, the Merrick Garland appointed a special counsel who's prosecuting not just the former president, but also the current president's
No,
son.
Merrick Garland.
A lot of frustration at the White House with Merrick Garland. So as you look at the cabinet,
There's
they're coming
frustration
in
with
in
Merrick
order
Garland?
based on
Really?
when their cabinet agency was created.
That's
So
news to
Tony
me.
Blinken, the Secretary of State, was
That's
the first to
fucking
come in
news to me,
because
dude.
the State Department's the oldest department. Janet Yellen, the Secretary of Treasury, followed by Lloyd Austin, the Secretary of Defense, who was
Yeah, you
Why are
didn't
they
see
all
Merrick
dressed in
Garland.
white?
but no
Yeah,
Merrick
What is this?
Garland.
Like
yeah,
a
we
music
did see
video?
Deb Holland,
Yep.
Rhonda.
There's
Let's go to you,
Javier.
Rhonda, for
Yep,
more on what you're seeing.
Yeah, it's a cabinet, but this is so interesting to me because a few of them have been here on Capitol
Aye,
Hill having
aye,
to testify,
aye.
and that's usual, right? But there has
controversial
been
rogue
a
maverick.
sense that House
Yeah,
Republicans
that one.
did want to target the cabinet. Just
She
last
has
week,
a
Lloyd
budget.
Austin
That's
was
it.
here in a hearing.
So what? So does
because
every
he did
housewife.
Not, let the president know or Congress know when he
Whatever.
was
You
in
gotta
the
give her
hospital
something
for
to do,
treatment
man.
in January.
She doesn't have
He was
power. She can
testifying
spend
about
some
that.
money
I've
buying
mentioned,
some
too, how
school
Mayorkas,
supplies
who
or
we are now
something.
seeing, has been successfully
Oh, man, look at
impeached in
this.
the House.
Pro-insurrection,
However, we're waiting to see if
pro-insurrection,
that will be picked up by the
pro-insurrection.
Senate in a Senate trial.
I mean,
actually asked to
pro-insurrection.
aid that earlier today. If
It's
there is any
literally,
timing yet to
literally a
know if that
whole
is going
wing
to
of
go over to the
traitors
Senate.
and
she just said
insurrectionists
they're waiting on the Senate.
need to be
but this is a
prosecuted.
cabinet that, not
Great
only
job,
is the
Merrick
president been in
Garland.
the sights of his opposing party in this chamber.
We got
so has
criminals
his
sitting
cabinet.
there who
So
plotted
that
against
also
our
is another,
democracy.
interesting dynamic here in this room.
Highest crime in the land.
A little awkward there,
And they
Rhonda,
support
when you
it.
think
They
about that.
fundraise on it.
Specifically,
They double
James, we're
down
also
and triple
seeing,
down. They go, hell
a
yeah, I
variety of other
supported those
secretaries,
patriots.
ranging from the Secretary of Energy,
they
the Secretary of
call the-
Transportation,
the
faces
ones
that
that
people
have
may
been
know from their
arrested,
past politics, like Gavin
hostages.
Granholm and Pete Buttigieg.
Oh, we
what
got
else
as
are
soon
you-
as I
there's
get
Merrick
in
Garland, there's
office,
also
I'm
right
going to
there.
release
Exactly.
our
So we saw Merrick
hostages.
Garland,
We
the
also
Attorney
saw
General
Lloyd
is
Austin.
there. It is in a sea of black and
scot-free.
blue suits. Gina Raimondo, the Secretary of Commerce, who was
Yeah,
the
Ice King
designated
of
survivor
Space,
2 years
apparently.
ago.
Yeah,
And,
where's the checks
Marcia
and
Fudge,
balance?
the Secretary of Housing and Urban
I think the founding fathers assumed that the opposing party wouldn't have any qualms, convicting their opposing party for crimes, right? I guess they just assume that, well, yeah, why would one side that, doesn't agree with the other side, why would they disagree with, why would they allow that one side to commit crimes and just treat it like normal? Isn't that Merrick Garland right there?
Is a longstanding practice. Last year it was Marty Walsh, the labor secretary, who did.
So yeah, no, there's no checks and balances for this, and the fascists that's what the history books are going to say. They always talk about the failure of Germany's democracy, and I'm sorry to bring up Hitler. There's a lot of other fascist examples. I'm just not smart enough to know any of them. But it's not just Germany. But fascism takes advantage of the weaknesses in a democracy. Half the government, what do you do? I mean, they had duels back then. I mean, no, it's what I would, if I was in charge, if I was the president, I would put in an attorney general, and I would just say, do everything by the book, man. By the book. Treat everyone exactly the same, including my party. Go after every criminal you can, and let the process play out. Don't change a single thing. Do investigations and go after them. Yeah, no, the White House ain't mad at Merrick Garland. Oh no, dude, 3 years of this. 3 years of Merrick Garland. Took him 2 fucking years to even get the ball rolling on an investigation into the number one seditionist in the United States of America. No, let me tell you, and these neoliberals are handing our democracy over to these fascists. Oh, bipartisanship. Oh, my decorum. Meanwhile, what they're trying to keep is this grift that allows them to stuff incredible amounts of money into their pockets and pretend like they're important people. Oh, the honorable this and oh, the honorable that. Enriching themselves while making millions of people's lives actively worse. Welcome back, John Axel. I'm drinking liquid sugar, it feels. Free Evan, y'all. It's a hostage.
That
Gaza
sort
hostage
of exchange his ability to sort of work on his feet there. One thing I'll quickly mention on
But if you arrest people of authority, how do you keep the government running? Homie, there's, you know what I mean? There's like, those people get reelected. You know what I mean? Those people get reelected. Well, because we have the opposite right now, right? With characters like Tommy Tuberville refusing to do anything unless it's under the government that they would prefer. So if it's zero action versus a temporary pause in action because now we have to do a re-election for this criminal who was arrested, well, I think I know which one I would pick. I would love one of these guys. Oh, look at this seditionist, a traitor, supports January 6th, supports the fucking coup. This guy right here, joking around. You want to make my entire system of government irrelevant? He should be a mortal enemy. You shouldn't be chumming it up, palling around. This guy hates you, dude. This guy wants to destroy you. He wants to destroy your party and your country. He is doing everything within his power to support the dismantling of this country. Joe Biden, quite honestly, didn't really seem that interested in talking to him. He seemed like he wanted to have a conversation with him. And Joe Biden's like, trying to walk through here. But look at all the palling up, the chumming it up. God, it makes me sick, dude. And I'm like, oh, well, isn't it better that they're bipartisan, that they're shaking hands? No, dude. No. Because this guy believes it. Joe Biden believes this shit. He thinks these people are not total to the core grifters who are lying to him and lying to the American public. Oh, no, I could work with them. No, well, we had a conversation. Went really well. It was all smiles and chuckles. People are dying on the front lines in Ukraine, man, because of this fucking lunacy. Oh, so that's her stunt. That's her stunt. She's wearing a fucking MAGA hat.
Good behavior.
That's her stunt.
Has told them to be, even Matt Gaetz.
Just fucking walk by. So that's her thing. Okay, holding up a bunch of fucking buttons. Yeah, he doesn't even want to look at her. The camera's avoiding her. Yeah, got him. You did this. What is it, an aborted baby on the button? Wow, he just... Yeah, okay, got to get that social media going, huh, MTG? She is really pathetic. She is really absolutely pathetic. Of course, supports January 6th, supports the coup. She's the bellwether of what they really feel. You know, while a lot of these guys are all smiles, MTG reflects what they really think, what they really believe. She wants to eat, you know, wants to eat these people alive. Lakely Riley? Ugh. I can't even look at her.
I don't see that they are engaging right now, but again, that shows you the dynamics we've been talking about. Is this?
Dude, he's okay. There he goes. He has to. Yeah, let's acknowledge her. It would have been far better for you to just keep on walking, right? Just keep on walking. Oh, sorry. That was all muted. Sorry, guys. Talking to the wife.
He could have become the Speaker of the House.
He could have, yeah. He could have. He was in the running.
Did not make that cut in sort of the chaotic.
Ice King, the country would move on. You know, this idea that, you know, it would be worse to arrest criminals. I've never heard that excuse except when it comes to politicians. Would you accept that excuse for literally any cartel, any group of criminals? Oh, well, if we arrest, you know, there's a baker cartel. They're all, you know, they're baking bread at higher prices. You know, we have to arrest all the bread makers. What will we do? What will we do? There won't be any more bread. There'll be the bread market will be affected. No, we arrest criminals. I don't understand why these guys get a break. I'm not buying this. I don't think I think you're just, you know, you're just playing, you know, you're just kind of like, you know, gaming it out, game theory. You're like, what if this, what if that? But no, I don't. That would be a temporary inconvenience. There'd be a re-election, and Bob's your uncle. We'd be right back to it. You know what I mean? It's far more important to set a legal precedent. To set a legal precedent that says crime is bad, and if you commit crime, you go to jail. Yeah, Ice King. No, that's what I figured. Like, well, what if what if all these criminals, you know, were to be arrested? Oh no, would we have a functioning government? Yes, we would. Yeah, we absolutely would. Right. Can you just get to the fucking stage, dude?
In the Biden administration, but instead of punching him and really scolding him publicly, Joe Biden took a different tactic. What do you know about the president and how he operates that way?
Well, it's interesting because
I mean, you would think he's like a sadomasochist, the way that he just loves getting, you know, spit on and walked over and degraded. You know, time after time after time. They literally marched maniacs, shirtless maniacs wearing Viking horns through this very body at their behest, and they now support it and call those people martyrs and hostages. And he has the audacity to you know, to treat them with equal respect. Right? Like I'm supposed to be in awe. Wow, turning the other cheek. What strength of character to allow yourself to be degraded to such a degree by these mediocre fascists, right? These Ted Cruzes, you know? Oh, what strength of character to see you get whipped time and time again with a big smile on your face. Oh, wow. The strength, right? I'm sick of it. How about you fight? How about you fight for this system, Joe? How about you push back against these criminals, Joe? If I saw a guy harboring drug dealers and thieves and fucking grifters and con men, and he was doing it under the auspices as like, of like, getting along, but meanwhile he's basically functionally protecting these elements, I'd be like, you're the biggest scumbag of them all. You're the one using progressive language to basically protect, these crooks.
Tell you earlier today.
That's what it is at the end of the day, man. If you're not going to arrest them, if you're not going to call them out, if you're going to shake their hand and smile after they degrade you and your entire system, your entire government, your entire country.
American people. Chris Coons
Get
said
up
he's just
there.
got to be
Go.
He's got to be out there bragging about it because he is also up against an opponent who has no problem
Get up
speaking
there,
about
dude.
himself.
Finally.
So that is what Democrats want to see more of the president do. Talk about the achievements, but they also know he's got to handle the
You're
border.
totally
He's got
screwing
to
over
handle,
Ukraine.
reproductive rights and talk about those kitchen table
Bipartisan
issues
shit.
as well.
Stay with the Washington Post. We'll have live
Mike
coverage
Johnson is a
after
fucking
the president
embarrassment.
Speaks at this State of the Union.
I'd
We'll be
look at
checking
him
in
dead
with
in
one
the
of our
eye and
colleagues who's actually in
I'd
that
wait
chamber
until he
tonight,
retracts his
watching
hand and then turn
witnessing
my
it.
back to him. It was what I would do to Mike Johnson.
Rhonda, there's a lot of
He'd
energy
stick his
in
hand
that
out,
room.
I'd stare him
For a
right
long
dead in the
day
eye
and
until he
a
put
long
his
week
hand
trying to
back.
keep the government open again for the fifth
Shake
time.
your hand.
They've all been here for a long time today, but they seem to
Mike
have
Johnson
a lot of energy right now and really want to hear
Help
this
plan
speech.
January 6th. No, he won't.
President
He's not
looking up for
fast
his
enough.
wife, the First Lady, a reminder
Matt
that she
Gaetz
is
has him in his
surrounded by
sights.
people who are there with meaning and purpose to represent priorities, goals, and successes
I helped plan
of
January
this White
6th.
House.
I'm totally getting away with it.
Good evening. If I were smart, I'd go home now.
Okay.
Mr. Speaker.
I won't confuse everybody by adding boo sound effects.
Members of Congress, my fellow Americans,
Good opener, huh?
in
Okay.
January 1941,
I'm biased.
Franklin Roosevelt came to this chamber to speak to the nation, and he said, I address you at a moment unprecedented in the history of the Union. Hitler was on the march. War was raging in Europe. President Roosevelt's purpose was to wake up Congress and alert the American people that this was no ordinary time. Freedom and democracy were under assault in the world. Tonight, I come to this same chamber to address the nation. Now, it's we who face an unprecedented moment.
We're under assault
in the
from
history
half
the
of this
Union.
body.
And yes, my purpose tonight is to wake up the Congress and alert the American people that this is no ordinary moment either. Not since President Lincoln and the Civil War have freedom and democracy been under assault at home as they are today. What makes our moment rare
By these people.
is that freedom and democracy are under attack both at home and overseas
By the guy right
at the very
behind you.
same time. Overseas, Putin of Russia is on the march,
Yeah.
invading Ukraine and sowing chaos throughout Europe and beyond. If anybody in this room thinks Putin will stop at Ukraine, I assure you he will not. But Ukraine,
Come on. Let him. Okay.
Ukraine can stop Putin.
All right.
Ukraine can stop Putin
Mike doesn't sit up.
if we
now.
stand with Ukraine and provide the weapons.
Stand with Ukraine. Yep. Yep.
It needs
I'm
to
not going
defend
to stand and
itself.
applaud that. No way. Yeah. No. Cynical grifters. All of them.
That is all. That is all Ukraine is asking. They're not asking for American soldiers. In fact, there are no American soldiers at war in Ukraine, and I'm
King.
determined to keep it that way. But now, assistance to Ukraine is being blocked by those who want to walk away from our world leadership. It wasn't long ago
This guy.
when a Republican president named Ronald Reagan thundered, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. Now,
Probably should have kept the wall up. That's what Mike's thinking. Yeah, I like walls.
now my predecessor, a former Republican president, tells Putin, quote, do whatever the hell you want. That's a quote.
That's a quote.
A former president
That's a
actually
quote.
said that, bowing down to a Russian leader. I think it's outrageous, it's dangerous, and it's unacceptable.
I agree. I don't think you really believe that, though, Joe. You just smiled and shook all their hands, Joe.
America is a founding member of NATO, the military alliance of democratic nations created after World War II to prevent war and keep the peace. And today, we've made NATO stronger than ever. We welcomed Finland to the alliance last year. And just this morning, Sweden officially joined, and their minister is here tonight.
Big win.
Stand up.
Thank you, Vladimir. Great job, Vladimir.
Welcome.
A big L
welcome.
according to the Republicans, guys. Pretty embarrassing.
And they know how to fight. Mr. Prime Minister, welcome to NATO, the strongest military alliance the world has ever seen.
That's right.
I say this to Congress, we have to stand up to Putin.
about you
Send me a
stand up to this
bipartisan
guy?
national security bill.
You can't even stand up to this guy,
History
dude.
is literally watching. History is watching. If the United States walks away, it will put Ukraine at risk. Europe is at risk. The free world will be at risk, emboldening others to do what they wish to do us harm. My message to President Putin, who I've known for a long time, is simple. We will not walk away.
Mike Johnson, yeah, we will. Yep, I'm a defeatist. I'm a defeatist.
We
All
will
the
not
Republicans
bow
sitting
down.
down. Look at that. Look at that. Almost half of them sitting down. We
I
will
will
walk
not bow
away.
down.
We will lose. Look at these
In a literal
pathetic
sense,
fools.
history is watching. History is watching. Just like history watched 3 years ago on January 6th.
Yeah.
When insurrectionists stormed this very
Yeah,
Capitol
Mike.
and placed
Oh,
a dagger
oh.
to the throat of American democracy.
Oh.
Many of you were here
You planned
on
it,
that
Mike.
darkest of days. We all saw with our own eyes the insurrectionists were not patriots.
That's right.
They'd come to stop the peaceful transfer of power.
That's right.
To overturn the will of the people.
Yep.
January 6th lies about the 2020 election and the plots to steal the election posed a gravest threat to U.S. democracy since the Civil War.
This guy right
But
here.
they failed.
This guy.
America stood.
Have they failed, Joe? Have they failed? He's actually sitting right behind you, Joe. This man needs to be in jail,
America
Joe.
stood strong.
Seems like a pretty
and
big
democracy
success,
prevailed.
Joe.
We must be honest. The threat to democracy must be defended. My predecessor and some of you here seek to bury the truth about January 6th.
That's right. You do.
I will not do that.
You do.
This is the moment to speak the truth and to bury the lies.
You call them hostages.
Here's the simple truth. You can't love your country only when you win.
That's right. Damn. Like it. I'm liking it. I guess so. Okay. Well, we should still let Russia win, though.
As I've done ever since being elected to office, I ask all of you without regard to party to join together and defend democracy. Remember your oath of office to defend against all threats, foreign and domestic.
That's right. That's right.
Respect.
You stand for that?
Respect free and fair elections. Restore trust in our institutions. And make clear political violence has absolutely no place in America, zero place.
Can you stand for that, Mike Johnson? No place for political violence? Can't even stand for that statement.
It's not
Wow.
hyperbole to suggest history is watching.
Sometimes
We're
violence
watching.
good.
Your children and grandchildren will read about this day and what we do. History is watching another assault on freedom. Joining us tonight is Latoya Beasley, a social worker from Birmingham, Alabama. 14 months ago, 14 months ago, she and her husband welcomed a baby girl thanks to the miracle of IVF. She scheduled treatments to have that second child, but the Alabama Supreme Court shut down IVF treatments across the state, unleashed by a Supreme Court decision overturning Roe v.
Pathetic,
Wade.
Ice King. It's
She
pathetic.
was told her dream would have to wait. What her family had got
He
through
can't
should never
stand
have
against
happened.
political violence.
Unless Congress acts, it could happen again. So tonight, let's stand up for families like hers. To my friends across the aisle, don't keep this waiting any longer. Guarantee the
Here are
right
the
to
Republicans.
IVF.
This is losing them votes, by the way. This
Guaranteed
in vitro fertilization thing. Republican women want IVF, Mike. Republican women want IVF. He's looking, I'm not allowed to stand up, guys.
Like most Americans, I believe Roe v. Wade got it right. I thank Vice President Harris for being an incredible leader defending reproductive freedom.
Yeah,
so
great
much more.
job. What are you talking about? Stop applauding yourself. You lost.
My predecessor came to office determined to see Roe v. Wade overturned. He's the reason it was overturned, and he brags about it. Look at the chaos that has resulted. Joining us tonight is Kate Cox, a wife and mother from Dallas. She's become pregnant again and had a fetus of a fatal condition. Her doctor told Kate that her own life and her ability to have children in the future were at risk if she didn't act. Because Texas law banned her ability to act, Kate and her husband had to leave the state to get what she needed.
Yeah, the
What her
new
family
law is you
got
got to
through
wait till
should
you're
have
almost
never
dead.
happened as well, but it's happening in too many others. There are state laws banning the freedom to choose, criminalizing doctors, forcing survivors of rape and incest to leave their states to get the treatment they need.
Maybe.
Many of you in this chamber and my predecessor are promising to pass a national ban on reproductive freedom. My God, what freedom else would you take away?
Yeah, exactly.
Look, it's a decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. The Supreme Court majority wrote the following, and with all due respect, justices, women are not without electoral power. Electoral or political power. You're about to realize just how much you were right about that. Clearly.
Tough talk for a party that's doing jack shit for Roe v. Wade right now.
Those bragging about overturning Roe v. Wade have no clue about the power of women. But they found out when reproductive freedom was on the ballot. We won in 2022 and 2020, and we'll win again in 2024.
President calling out the Supreme Court like that. Yeah. Well, all right. I'll take it.
If you, the American people, send me a Congress that supports the right to choose, I promise you, I'll restore Roe v. Wade as the law of the land again.
Yeah, okay, bud. Okay. we only gave you 2 or 3 supermajorities to do it in the past, but all right, I'll take it.
America
Bold promise.
cannot go back. I'm here tonight to show what I believe is the way forward, because I know how far we come. 4 years ago next week, before I came to office, the country was hit by the worst pandemic and the worst economic crisis in a century. Remember the fear, record losses? Remember the spikes in crime and the murder rate, raging virus that took more than 1 million American lives, of loved ones, millions left behind? A mental health crisis of isolation and loneliness. A president, my predecessor, failed the most basic presidential duty that he owes to American people, the duty to care. I think that's unforgivable.
Liar!
I came to office determined to get us through one of the toughest periods in the nation's history. We have. It doesn't make news in 1,000 cities and towns. The American people are writing the greatest comeback story never told.
Look about your tubing.
So let's tell the story here. Tell it here and now. America's comeback is building the future of American possibilities building an economy from the middle out and the bottom up, not the top down. Investing in all America, in all Americans.
Here we go. Here
to make sure everyone has a fair shot, and we leave no one behind. The pandemic no longer controls our lives. The vaccines that saved us from COVID are now being used to beat cancer, turning setback into comeback. That's what America does. That's what America does.
I'm looking for a package of policies,
Folks,
promises. I want some solid, concrete
I hear
promises.
the
We've
economy's
got
on
one.
the brink. Now our economy is literally the envy of the world. 15 million new jobs in just 3 years, a record, a record.
Can't applaud that.
Unemployment at 50-year lows.
Can't applaud that one, huh? Pelosi
Record
applauds all this
16
shit for the
million Americans
Republicans,
are
by the
starting
way.
small businesses, and each one is a literal act of hope. With historic job growth and small business growth for Black and Hispanics and Asian Americans, 800,000 new manufacturing jobs in America and counting.
A lot of those are
Where
jobs.
is it written we can't be the
underpaid,
manufacturing capital of the world? We
no
are.
retirement
We will.
jobs.
More
better than
people
nothing.
have health insurance today. More people have health insurance today than ever before. The racial wealth gap is as small as it's been in 20 years. Wages keep going up. Inflation keeps coming down.
I don't know if that's
Inflation
necessary
has
for a
dropped from
functioning
9%
government.
to
Ice King.
3%, the lowest in the world and tending lower. The landing is and will be soft. And now, instead of importing foreign products and exporting American jobs, we're exporting American products and creating American jobs. Right here in America, where they belong.
The numbers look really good for Joe Biden's
And it
economy.
takes time, but the
The
American people
real
are beginning to
economy is
feel
not
it.
looking that great.
Consumer studies show consumer confidence is soaring. Buy America has been the law of the land since the 1930s.
Yeah.
Past administrations,
Ice King,
including my
we'll talk about this.
predecessor,
I don't disagree.
including
We'll
some
talk about
Democrats as well in the past, failed to buy American. Not anymore. On my watch, federal projects that you fund, like helping build American roads, bridges, and highways, will be made with American products and built by American workers. Creating good-paying American jobs. And thanks to our CHIPS and Science Act, the United States is investing more in research and development than ever before. During the pandemic, the shortage of semiconductors, chips,
cut everything.
that drove up the price of everything from cell phones to
Give it all
automobiles.
to Jeff Bezos.
And by the way, we invented those chips right here in America. Well, instead of having to import them, private companies are now investing billions of dollars to build new chip factories here in America, creating tens of thousands of jobs.
That's a pretty
Many
big
of
deal.
those jobs paying $100,000 a year and don't require a college degree.
That's a pretty big deal.
In fact, my policies have attracted $650 billion in private sector investment in clean energy, advanced manufacturing, creating tens of thousands of jobs here in America.
All right, something to brag about. $650 billion. That's a good chunk of change.
And thanks to our bipartisan
Can't even give
infrastructure
them an
law,
applause, huh, Mike?
46,000
They're so
new
pathetic.
projects have been announced all across your communities. And by the way, I noticed some of you strongly voted against it, or they're cheering on that money coming in.
Oh!
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Ice King, white, no college degree,
If
male.
any of you don't want that money in your district, just let me know.
Yeah.
Modernize our roads and bridges, ports and airports, public transit systems. Removing poisonous lead pipes so every child can drink clean water without risk of brain damage.
So the Democrats do know how to call out the left wing, huh? This cute little prodding, is this the best they could do?
Affordable high-speed internet for every American, no matter where you live, urban, suburban, or rural
I want
communities.
this times
in
100.
red states and blue states. Record investments in tribal communities. Because of my investment in family farms, because our investment in family farms led by my Secretary of Agriculture who knows more about this than anybody I know, we're better able to stay in the family for those farms and their children and grandchildren.
Remember Trump's Secretary of Agriculture?
It's transforming.
Was an oil man.
The great comeback story is Belvedere, Illinois, home to an auto plant for nearly 60 years. Before I came to office, the plant was on its way to shutting down. Thousands of workers feared for their livelihoods. Hope was fading. Then I was elected to office, and we raised the Belvedere repeatedly with auto companies, knowing unions would make all the difference. The UAW worked like hell to keep the plant open and get these jobs back, and together we succeeded. Instead of auto factories shutting down, auto factories reopening, a new state-of-the-art battery factories being built to power those cars there at the same.
Oh, he was the best. He did everything the Republicans wanted him to do. Cut, 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 cut. Surprised we have any national parks left.
Instead of your town being left behind, your community is moving forward again. Because instead of watching auto jobs in the future go overseas, 4,000 union jobs with higher wages are building the future in Belvedere right here in America.
Is that it? I don't know. You're the president of the United States. 4,000 jobs. And that's, okay, but
here tonight.
Can we do better?
Is UAW President Shawn Fain, a great friend and a great labor leader. Shawn, where are you? Stand up.
Joe Biden is not a friend of the fucking unions, dude.
And Dawn Sims, a third-generation worker, UAW worker at Belvedere. Shawn, I was proud to be the first president to stand on the picket line, and today, Dawn has a good job in her hometown, providing stability for her family and pride and dignity as well.
He did get on
Showing
the
once
picket
again,
line.
Wall Street didn't build America. They're not bad guys. They didn't build it, though. The middle class built the country, and unions built the middle class.
We can't rise for that one, huh, Republicans? Can't rise for that one? Fuck the middle class. Boo! Middle class sucks. Boo!
I say to the American people,
can't even clap for that one,
when America gets knocked down, we get back up.
No, we don't.
We keep going.
Boo!
That's America.
We're a bunch of incel losers now. MAGA for life. Boo!
That's you, the American people. It's because of you America's coming back. It's because of you our future is brighter. It's because of you that tonight we can proudly say the state of our union is strong and getting stronger.
The smug smile. I can't.
Tonight, I want to talk about the future of possibilities that we can build together. A future where the days of trickle-down economics are over, and the wealthy and the biggest corporations no longer get all the tax breaks. And by the way, I understand corporations. I come from a state that has more corporations invested than every one of your states in the state of the United States combined. And I represented it for 36 years. I'm not anti-corporation, but I grew up in a home where trickle-down economics didn't put much on my dad's kitchen table. That's why I determined to turn things around so middle class does well. When they do well, the poor go way up and the wealthy still do very well. We all do well.
You're in charge, right?
There's more to do to make sure you're feeling the benefits of all we're doing. Americans pay more for prescription drugs than anywhere in the world. It's wrong, and I'm ending it.
Oh, please. How much money does how much pharmaceutical money does the neoliberal party take each year? Hundreds of thousands of dollars from Big Pharma goes in the pockets of these fucking hypocrites. Holy shit.
Well, I proposed and signed. Not one of you Republican buddies voted for it. We finally beat Big Pharma. Instead of paying $400 a month or thereabouts for insulin with diabetes, and it only costs $10 to make, they only get paid $35 a month now and still make a healthy profit.
Yeah, that's better than nothing. The Republicans would
What
just,
to do next?
yeah, $1,000 of
Cap the
treatment.
cost of
Yeah,
insulin
you're gonna
$35 a
die.
month for every American who needs it. Everyone.
Can't even applaud that one, huh, Mike? Boy, old people who can't afford
For
their medicine
years.
really love seeing that.
People have talked about it, but finally we got it done.
I wish.
We gave Medicare the power to negotiate lower prices on prescription drugs,
Oh, yeah. Is
just
that-
like the
you gonna
VA
cut
is
that,
able
Mike?
to do for veterans.
You want to cut that, don't you, Mike?
That's not just saving seniors money, it's saving taxpayers money. We cut the federal deficit by $160 billion.
Why are they showing Bernie? Okay. Bernie, like, okay.
Because Medicare
Oh, my God. Who?
will no longer have to pay those exorbitant prices to Big Pharma. This year, Medicare is negotiating lower prices for some of the costliest drugs on the market to treat everything from heart disease to arthritis. It's now time to go
Private
further and
market,
give
Joe.
Medicare the power to negotiate lower prices for 500 different
market.
drugs over the next decade.
Oh, affordable medicine? Mike Johnson
We're
hates
making
it.
a lot of money, guys.
Republicans hate it.
And
Affordable
they'll still be
prescription drugs,
extremely
hate
profitable. Will not only save lives, it will save taxpayers another $200 billion.
it. The
Starting
Republican
next
base,
year,
man.
the same law caps total
Unbelievable.
prescription drug costs for seniors on Medicare at $2,000 a year, even for expensive cancer drugs that cost $10,000, $12,000, $15,000. Now I want to cap prescription drug costs at $2,000 a year for everyone. Folks,
No support from the Republicans. No, we want to gouge sick people.
I'm going to
Free
get in trouble for
market.
saying that, but if you want to get an Air Force One and fly to Toronto, Berlin, Moscow, well, even Moscow, probably. And bring your prescription with you, and I promise you I'll get it for you for 40% the cost you're paying now. Same company, same drug, same place.
Yeah.
Folks, the Affordable Care Act, the old Obamacare, is still a very big deal.
What could have been single-payer health care turned into a massive giveaway to the health insurance companies. It's nothing to brag about. The ACA is trash,
million of
dude.
you can
Single
no
payer,
longer be
bitch.
denied health insurance because of pre-existing condition. Well, my predecessor and many in this chamber want to take this prescription drug away by repealing Affordable Care Act.
You do, Mike. You
I'm
do.
not gonna
He's
let that
shaking his head.
happen.
He does. Wait,
We
what did he
stopped you
say?
50
Sorry.
times before and we'll stop you again.
Hold on. What did he say?
I'm not going to let that happen.
Yes, you are.
We stopped you 50 times before and we'll stop you again.
Like
In
Roe v.
fact,
Wade, right,
I'm not
Joe?
only protecting it, I'm expanding it. They enacted tax credits of $800 per person per year, reduce health care costs for millions of working families. That tax credit expires next year.
Yeah.
I want to make that savings permanent.
Yep, no, can't. God, he's pathetic. Man, look at all the shit, you
To
know?
state the obvious, women are more than half our population.
He hates you,
The
dude.
research
Mike
on women's
Johnson
health
hates you.
has always been underfunded. That's why we're launching the first ever White House initiative on women's health research, led by Jill, doing an incredible job as First Lady.
Okay. I mean, all the shit Mike Johnson disagrees with here would help old people and young people and...
We'll pass my plan for $12 billion to transfer women's health research
Yeah,
and
Ice
benefit
King.
millions of lives all
No
across
child left
America.
behind.
I know the cost of housing is so important to you. If inflation keeps coming down, mortgage rates will come down as well, and the Fed acknowledges that. But I'm not waiting. I want to provide an annual tax credit that will give Americans $400 a month for the next 2 years as mortgage rates come down.
All right.
To put toward
Yeah.
their mortgages when they buy their first home or trade up for a little more space.
Are those goodies? Mike
Just for 2
Johnson, is he
years.
handing out goodies, right? Don't you love it when Republicans call it, handouts? No, I like this.
And
This,
my administration
real concrete
is
promises
also
here.
eliminating title insurance on federally backed mortgages. When you refinance your home,
Ice
you
King,
can
he ain't
save
flipping.
$1,000 or more as a consequence.
Coward to the core.
For millions of renters, we're cracking down on big landlords who use antitrust law, who break antitrust laws by price fixing and driving up rents. We've cut red tape.
You're against
so
that,
builders
Mike?
can get federally financing,
Drive up
which
them
is already
rents.
helping build
Mike?
a record 1.7 million new housing units nationwide. Now pass and build and renovate 2 million affordable homes and bring those rents down.
No, we can't applaud for low rents, dude. Wow. Can't applaud for cheap drugs. Can't applaud for cheap rent. More jobs.
Remain the strongest economy in the world. We need to have the best education system in the world.
They hate you. They hate you, dude. The Republicans
And I suspect
hate you.
all of you, want to give every child, a good start by providing access to preschool for 3 and 4 years old. You know,
Shipping container homes
think
aren't
I
what they're
pointed out
cracked up to
last
be,
year.
YouTubing. Yeah, Ice King, really.
I think I pointed out last year that children coming from broken homes where there's no books, they're not read to, not spoken to very often, start school, kindergarten, or first grade, having heard 1 million fewer words spoken. Well, studies show that children who go to preschool are nearly 50% more likely to finish high school, go on to earn a 2- and 4-year degree, no matter what their background is.
Preschool, no. Republicans hate preschool. Man, they are so petty,
a year and a half
dude.
ago with the leaders of the Business Roundtable.
And this guy
They were
talks about
mad that they were
bipartisanship with this
angry,
party
I think,
doing
well,
this
they were
theatrics.
discussing why I wanted to spend money
Pathetic.
on education. I pointed out to them as vice president, I met with over 182 of those folks. Don't hold me to the exact number. And I asked them what they need most, the CEOs.
Tax cuts for the
And
rich.
you've had the same experience on both sides of the aisle. They say a better educated workforce, right? So I looked at them and I say, I come from Delaware. DuPont used to be the 8th largest corporation in the world. And every new enterprise they bought, they educated the workforce to that enterprise. But none of you do that anymore. Why are you angry with me providing you the opportunity for the best educated workforce in the world? And they all looked at me and said, I think you're right.
Huh?
I want to expand high-quality tutoring and summer learning to see that every child learns to read by 3rd grade.
Nope, can't applaud that. Child literacy, preschool, cheap drugs, cheap rent.
I'm also connecting local businesses and high schools
Hate it.
so students get hands-on experience and a path to good-paying job, whether or not they go to college. And I want to make sure that college is more affordable. Let's continue increasing the Pell Grants to working and middle-class families and increase
Good
record
point,
investments in HBCUs and minority-serving institutions, including
we can't
Hispanic
have this.
institutions.
We can't have this now. And he's still,
And I was
Joe
told
Biden
I
talks
couldn't
about
universally just
bipartisanship,
change
man.
the way in which we dealt with student loans. I fixed 2 student loan programs that already existed to reduce the burden of student debt
Psychic reading.
for nearly 4 million Americans, including nurses, firefighters, and others in public service.
Can't applaud firefighters, dog.
Like Keenan Jones, a public educator
Should
in
be-
Minnesota.
should be keeping a
who's here
list
with
here.
us tonight. Keenan, where are you? Keenan, thank you. He's educated hundreds of students so they can go to college. Now he's able to help after debt forgiveness
everyone else
get his
sitting
own
down.
daughter to college. And folks, look,
Is that his mother next to him? He's like, I'm not
such
sitting up
relief is
again,
good
honey.
for
Come
the
on.
economy because folks are now able to buy a home, start a business, start a family. While we're at it, I want to give public school teachers a raise.
Public school teachers getting a raise? Nope. Republicans hate it. Not even an applause. Can't even know. Fuck them teachers.
And by
Fuck
the way, the
them
first couple of years, we
kids.
cut the deficit. Now, let me speak to the question of fundamental fairness for all Americans. I've been delivering real results in fiscally responsible ways. We've already cut the federal deficit. We've already cut the federal deficit over $1 trillion. I signed the bipartisan deal. And cut another $1 trillion in the next decade.
That's exactly what
It's
he's
my
done.
goal to cut the federal deficit another $3 trillion by making
Fake
big
news,
corporations and very
fake
wealthy
numbers.
finally beginning to pay their fair share.
Fake news. Oh, corporations paying their fair share?
Look,
I don't applaud that.
I'm a capitalist. If you want to make or can make a million or millions of bucks, that's great. Just pay your fair share in taxes.
Really? Really,
A fair
Mike?
tax code is how we invest things to make this country great. Healthcare, education, defense, and so much more. But here's the deal.
Tax and
The last
spend
administration
liberal.
enacted a $2 trillion tax cut, overwhelmingly benefit the top 1%, the very wealthy and the biggest corporations, and exploded the federal deficit.
They have the back of the
They added more
1%.
to the national debt than any presidential term in American history. Check the numbers. Folks at home, does anybody really think the tax code is fair? Do you really think the wealthy and big corporations need another $2 trillion tax break? I sure don't. I'm going to keep fighting like hell to make it fair. Under my plan, nobody earning less than $400,000 a year will pay additional penny in federal taxes.
That's
nobody,
good.
not one penny. They
Mike,
haven't
you
yet.
can't applaud that, dude.
In
Oh,
fact,
man.
The child tax credit I passed during the pandemic cut taxes for millions of working families and cut child poverty in half.
That's what I want to hear. Real policy,
Restore
real
that
promises.
child tax credit.
Marco Rubio can't
No
applaud that, huh?
child should go hungry in this country.
Hungry kids.
The way to make the tax code fair
Go back, effed up
is to make
kid.
big corporations and the very wealthy begin to pay their fair share.
No, borderline.
Remember in 2020, 55 of the biggest companies in America made $40 billion
Welcome
and
back.
paid zero in federal income tax. Zero. Not anymore. Thanks to the law I wrote and we signed, big companies have to pay a minimum of 15%. But that's still less than working people pay in federal taxes.
Yeah.
It's time to raise corporate minimum tax to at least
That's your
21%.
policy. Yeah, raise corporate taxes, Mike. Yeah, you bet, Mike.
So
Look at these
every
corrupt
big corporation
bastards.
finally begins to pay their fair share. I also want to end tax breaks for big pharma, big oil, private jets, massive executive pay when it's only supposed to be $1 million that can be deducted. They can pay them $20 million if they want, but deduct $1 million. End it now. You know, there are 1,000 billionaires in America. You know what the average federal tax is for those billionaires? No. They're making great
Too
sacrifices, 8.2%. That's far less than the vast majority of Americans pay. No billionaire should pay a lower federal tax rate than a teacher, a sanitation worker, or a nurse.
Look at these Republicans. God, they're pathetic. No, the teachers should pay more taxes than the billionaires, say the Republicans.
I
Their
propose
entire party is made up
minimum
of
tax for
$30,000 a
billionaires
year
of
schlubs.
25%, just 25%. You know what that would raise? That would raise $500 billion over the next 10 years. And imagine what that could do for America. Imagine a future with affordable child care. Millions of families can get they need to go to work to
we
help
can't
grow
have
the
that.
economy. Imagine a future with paid leave, because no one should have to choose between working and taking care of their sick family member. Imagine the future of home care and elder care, and people living with disabilities.
God,
so they
he's
can
like
stay in their
sinking
homes
into the
and family
seat,
caregivers
dude.
can finally
He just
get the pay they
does
deserve.
not want to be there.
Tonight, let's all agree once again to stand up for seniors. Many
Come
of my
on,
friends
Mike.
on the other side of the aisle want to put Social Security on the chopping block. If anyone here tries to cut Social Security, Medicare, or raise the retirement age,
You do.
I will
The Republicans.
stop
Come on, man. You do. The right wing absolutely want to cut Social Security, dude. No, we
the working
don't.
people
No, we don't.
The working people who built this country pay more into Social Security than millionaires and billionaires do. It's not fair. We have two ways to go. Republicans can cut Social Security and give more tax breaks to the wealthy. That's the proposal.
That's the proposal.
Oh, no. You guys don't want another $2 trillion tax cut? I kind of thought that's what your plan was. Well, that's good to hear. You're not going to cut another $2 trillion for the super wealthy. That's good to hear. I'll protect and strengthen Social Security and make the wealthy pay their fair share.
Dementia, guys. This is a strong speech.
Look.
It's a strong speech. Like, oh, you don't want to cut $2 trillion for the
Too
rich?
many corporations raise prices to pad their profits, charging more and more for less and less. That's why we're cracking down on corporations that engage in price gouging and deceptive pricing, from food to healthcare to housing. In fact, the snack companies think you won't notice if they change the size of the bag and put a hell of a lot fewer, same size bag.
The Republicans
Put
laughing
fewer
at the
chips in
concept
it.
of shrinkflation?
No, I'm not
it's
joking.
Real.
It's called shrinkflation. Pass Bobby Casey's bill and stop this.
It's not a conspiracy.
I really mean it.
Shrinkflation is real. It's not a fake news, fake news. What are you talking about? It's really happening, dude.
You probably all saw that commercial on Snickers bars. You get charged the same amount, and you got about, I don't know, 10% fewer Snickers in it. Look, I'm also getting rid of junk fees. Those hidden fees at the end of your bill that are there without your knowledge. My administration announced we're cutting credit card late fees from $32 to $8.
Can't applaud that? Come on, Mike. Come on, dude.
Banks and credit card companies
Anti-child
allowed
education,
to charge what it costs them
credit
to,
card
to
fees.
instigate the collection. And that's more a hell of a lot like $8 and 30-some dollars.
These people hate
They don't like
you,
it.
dude.
Credit
They
card
hate
companies
you.
don't like it. But I'm saving American families $20 billion a year with all the junk fees I'm eliminating.
Can't even give that an applause,
Folks at
man.
home.
Wow, dude.
That's why the banks are so mad. It's $20 billion in profit. I'm not stopping there.
He's been boosted. He's
My
got some
administration
B12.
proposed rules to make cable, travel, utilities, and online ticket sellers tell you the total price up front, so there are no surprises.
Yeah. We can't
It
applaud that
mattered.
one, Mike Johnson.
It matters.
Fuck, dude.
And so does this. In November, my team began serious negotiation with a bipartisan group of senators. The result was a bipartisan bill with the toughest set of border security reforms we've ever seen.
It was.
Oh, you
It
don't
was
think
your
so?
bill. It was your bill.
You don't like that bill, huh? That conservatives got together and said it was a good bill? I'll be darned. That's amazing. That bipartisan bill would hire 1,500 more security agents and officers, 100 more immigration judges to help tackle the backlog
Mike.
of 2 million
Yeah,
cases,
Mike.
4,300 more
He
asylum
gave you
officers,
exactly what
and
you
new
wanted,
policies so
Mike.
they can resolve cases in 6 months instead of 6 years now.
He gave you exactly what you wanted, Mike.
What are you against? 100 more high-tech drug detection machines to significantly increase the ability to screen and stop vehicles smuggling fentanyl into America. That's killing thousands of children.
And
This
isn't
bill
that
will save
great?
lives.
The neoliberals repeating
And then order the
right-wing
border.
talking points.
They've also given
Fentanyl
me
is a
and any new
problem.
president new emergency authority to temporarily shut down the border when the number of migrants at the border is overwhelming. The Border Patrol Union has endorsed
It
this
isn't,
bill.
Mike?
The Federal Chamber of Commerce is, yeah. You're saying low. Look at the facts. I know you know how to read.
This guy can't debate Trump? Why can't this guy debate Trump again?
I believe that given the opportunity for a majority in the House and Senate would endorse the bill as well, a majority right now. But unfortunately, politics has derailed this bill so far. I'm told my predecessor called members of Congress in the Senate to demand they block the bill.
What is he shaking his head
political
at?
win. He viewed it as will be a political win for me and a political loser for him. It's not about him. It's not about me. I'd be a winner. Not really.
Oh, what'd she say?
Lincoln Riley, an innocent young woman who was killed by an illegal. That's right. But how many of the thousands of people being killed by illegals? To her parents,
So
I say, my
she's
heart
saying
goes out
because
to you,
this
having
person was
lost
killed by
children
an
myself.
illegal,
I understand.
pick them all out, huh?
But look, if we change the dynamic at the border, people pay these smugglers $8,000 to get across the border because they know if they get by and let into the country, it's 6 to 8 years before they have a hearing, and it's worth taking the chance of the $8,000.
Mike caught himself agreeing.
If
Mike
it's
caught
only
himself agreeing.
6 weeks, the idea is it's highly unlikely that people will pay that money and come all that way knowing that they'll be able to be kicked out quickly. Folks, I would respectfully suggest my
interesting. So they're wearing
Republican
Lincoln
friends to the
Riley.
American people, get this bill done.
Wow.
We need to act now.
They're cynically using the death of a person. They're just politically putting this person's name on their chest so that they can use violence against women and children, and of course men too, on the border.
And if my predecessor is
Wow.
watching, instead of paying politics and pressuring members of Congress to block the bill, join me in telling the Congress to pass it. We can do it together. But that's what he apparently here's what he will not do.
Yeah.
I will not demonize immigrants saying
maybe
they are
you should realize
poison
that,
in the
Joe.
blood of our country.
Did
I will
he
not
just now realize that they're not
separate
bipartisanship?
families.
You know, they're not bipartisan buddies.
I will
maybe you guys
not
don't like me.
ban people because of their faith. Unlike my predecessor on my first day in office, I introduced a comprehensive bill to fix our immigration system. Take a look at it. It has all these and more. Secure the border. Provide a pathway to citizenship for dreamers, and so much more. But unlike my predecessor, I know who we are as Americans. We're the only nation in the world with a heart and soul that draws from old and new. Home to Native Americans, whose ancestors have been here for thousands of years. Home to people of from every place on earth. They came freely. Some came in chains. Some came when famine struck, like my ancestral family in Ireland. Some to flee persecution, to chase dreams that are impossible anywhere but here in America. That's America. And we all come from somewhere, but we're all American.
You seriously can't even applaud that, guys. There was a pro-January 6th insurrectionist right there when he said that. Big frown, not
Look, folks.
applauding. No.
We have a simple choice. We can fight about fixing the border, or we can fix it.
Here in America.
I'm ready to fix it. Send me the border bill now.
I love the look of like exacerbation, like just full-blown denial of reality, dude.
Transformational moment in history.
On their fucking
Happened
phones.
59 years ago today in Selma, Alabama. Hundreds of foot soldiers for justice marched across the Edmund Pettus Bridge, named after the Grand Dragon of the Ku Klux Klan, to claim their fundamental right to vote. They were beaten, they were bloody, and left for dead. Our late friend and former colleague, John Lewis, was on that march. We miss him.
We can't even get an applause for the civil rights movement. Not even a little nothing. Oh, he finally unseats himself.
Joining us tonight.
Oh, all it took. We had to go back 60 fucking years.
Both in the gallery and on the floor.
Wow, we found a history
Betty
he
Mae
acknowledges.
Fikes, known as the voice of Selma. The daughter of gospel singers and preachers, she sang songs of prayer and protest on that bloody Sunday to help
Poor
shake
thing. She
the
looks like
nation's
she's having
conscience.
a hell of a time with that
5
seat.
months later, the Voting Rights Act passed and was signed into law.
Voting Rights Act, Mike? No? No? Can't get
Thank
no?
you.
black people being allowed to vote? Mike? Come on, Mike. Oh, he did. He stood up. Okay. Okay. Wow. There's a floor. There's some kind of floor
But 59
here.
years later,
But not all the
we're
Republicans
forced to
stood
taking us
up,
back in
dude.
time. Voter suppression,
They all
election
didn't
subversion,
stand.
unlimited dark money, extreme gerrymandering. John Lewis is a great friend to many of us here. But if you truly want to honor him and all the heroes who marched with him,
Oh, yeah, making a
then it's
turnaround.
time to do more than talk. Pass the Freedom to Vote Act. The
No.
John Lewis Voting Right Act.
No, can't do that now. We love gerrymandering. The Republicans are actively destroying our electoral system.
And stop denying another core value of America, our diversity across American life. Banning books, it's wrong. Instead of erasing history, let's make history. I want to protect fundamental rights. Pass the Equality Act. And my message to transgender Americans, I have your back.
Equality. I'm going to sit for this
Pass
one.
the PRO Act for workers' rights.
Ooh, those are all wins for you.
Raise the federal minimum
I'm not here for the
wage.
American people.
Because every worker has a right to a decent living,
It's
more
our
than
fault. It's-
$7 an hour.
We vote for these people. This is what we want.
We're also
Apparently.
making history by confronting the climate crisis, not denying it. I don't think any of you think there's no longer a climate crisis. At least I hope you don't.
Come on, Joe. My
I'm taking the
man.
most significant action ever on climate in the history of the world.
Yeah, and
I'm
they can't
cutting our
wait to cut
carbon
it.
emissions in half by 2030. Creating
Eliminate it.
tens of thousands of clean energy jobs, like the IBW workers building and installing 500,000 electric vehicle charging stations.
Go dig some coal. The Republicans can't wait to reverse all of it.
30% of America's
That was
lands and
yawning.
waters by 2030. And taking action on environmental justice, fence line communities smothered by the legacy of pollution. And pattern after the,
The
Peace Corps
Democrats
and
stand
American
during
Corps,
these speeches, by
I
the way.
launched
I
the
need to
Climate
point that
Corps
out.
to put 20,000 young
Nancy
people to work
Pelosi and the rest of the
in the
Democrats stood
forefront
up
of our
and
clean energy
applauded Donald
future.
Trump.
I'll triple that number in a decade. To state the obvious, all Americans deserve the freedom to be safe. And America is safer today than when I took office. Year before I took office, murder rates went up 30%. 30% they went up. The biggest increase in history. It was then, through
time to
my
go,
American
dude.
Rescue
Time
Plan,
to
which
go.
every American voted against, I might add, we made the largest investment in public safety ever.
Had to
Last
remove
year,
a
the murder
fucking
rate saw the
heckler,
sharpest
dude.
decrease in history. Violent crime
And he's
fell to
he's
one of its lowest
referencing
levels in more than 50 years.
Stone
But we
cold
have more to
factual
do.
statistics,
Let's help
guys.
cities invest in more community police officers, more mental health workers, more community violence intervention. Give communities the tool to crack down on gun crime, retail crime, and carjacking. Keep building trust as I've been doing by
They're the
taking
party of
executive
more gun
action
crime.
on police
We
reform.
want more
and
guns,
calling
more
for it to be
guns.
the law of the land. Directing my cabinet to
Problem
review the
couldn't
federal
be worse.
classification of marijuana
Mass
and
shootings every
expunging
fucking
thousands
day.
of convictions for the mere possession, because no one should be jailed for simply using or have it on their record. Take on
Pathetic.
crimes of domestic violence. I'm ramping up the federal enforcement of the Violence Against Women Act that I proudly wrote when I was a senator.
Violence
So we
against
can
women.
finally end the scourge against women in America.
Can't. No. We're pro. We get this. We get
There are other kinds of
Republican
violence I
women.
wanna stop.
You get a quiet
this
little
tonight
clap.
is Jasmine.
I mean,
His
some women
9-year-old
deserve
sister
it.
Jackie was murdered with 21 classmates and teachers in elementary school in
It's a good
Uvalde,
speech.
Texas. Very soon after that happened,
Where
Jill
was
and I
this
went to
party for
Uvalde
the
a
last
couple
3
days.
years?
We spent hours and hours with each of the families. We heard their message, so everyone in this room, in this chamber, could hear the same message. the constant refrain, and I was there for hours meeting with every family. They said, do something. Do something.
Hear that, Mike?
Well, I did do something by establishing the first ever Office of Gun Violence Prevention in the White House. That the Vice President is leading the charge.
We can't have that.
Thank you for doing it.
Gun violence prevention?
Meanwhile,
oh, no. It's not even a real problem.
Meanwhile, my predecessor told the NRA he's proud he did nothing on guns when he was president. Oh.
That's what he said, Mike.
Iowa recently, he said, when asked what to do about it, he said, just get over it.
That's what he said, Mike.
Just get over it. I say, stop it. Stop it, stop it, stop it.
Do you? Barack Obama didn't do shit after Sandy Hook. The neoliberals have done nothing substantive on gun violence.
I'm proud to
Not
beat
a
the
single
NRA when
fucking
I
thing
signed most
substantive on
significant
gun
gun safety
violence.
law in nearly 30 years because of this Congress. We now must beat the NRA again. I'm demanding a ban on assault weapons and high-capacity magazines.
Hey, man. Loving that.
Pass universal background check.
Loving that.
None of this. I taught the Second Amendment for 12 years. None of this violates the Second Amendment or vilifies responsible gun owners. You know, as we manage challenges at home, we're also managing crises abroad, including in the Middle East. I know the last 5 months have been gut-wrenching for so many people, for the Israeli people, for the Palestinian people, and so many here in America.
Wow, he mentioned them.
This crisis began on October 7th with a massacre by a terrorist group called Hamas.
No, it didn't. It did not start on October 7th.
200 innocent people, women and girls.
This started in the 40s, Joe.
Slaughtered after enduring sexual violence. The deadliest day for the Jewish people since the Holocaust. And 250 hostages taken. Here in this chamber tonight are families whose loved ones are still being held by Hamas. I pledge to all the families that we will not rest until we bring every one of your loved ones home. We also the
current strategy is an absolute unmitigated disaster. Total failure,
We will
Joe.
also work around the clock to bring home Evan and Paul, Americans being unjustly detained by the Russians and others around the world. Israel has
Watch
the right
them
to go
not
after
stand
Hamas.
for Ukraine.
Hamas ended this conflict by releasing hostages, laying
Yeah, you
down
bet he
arms. Could end it by releasing the hostages, laying down arms, and surrendering those responsible for October 7th. But Israel has Israel has a added burden because Hamas hides and operates among the civilian population like cowards.
I'm sure they all stood
Under
for that one.
hospitals, daycare centers, and all the like.
They all take
Israel
Israeli
also has a
lobby
fundamental
money.
responsibility, though, to protect innocent civilians in Gaza.
Oh, we can't stand. Even a lot of Democrats having problems standing for that.
This war
Oh, are they so innocent, Joe?
has taken a greater toll on innocent civilians than all previous wars in Gaza combined. More than 30,000 Palestinians have been
Boba.
killed,
Please don't be a
most of
right-winger.
whom are not Hamas. Thousands and thousands of innocents, women and children, girls and boys, also orphaned. Nearly 2 million more Palestinians under bombardment or displacement. Homes destroyed, neighborhoods in rubble, cities in ruin. Families without food, water, medicine. It's heartbreaking. I've been working nonstop to establish an immediate ceasefire that would last for 6 weeks to get all the prisoners released, all the hostages released, to get the hostages home and ease the intolerable humanitarian crisis and build toward an enduring, something more enduring. The United States
Can someone please acknowledge that a 6-week ceasefire is
Tonight,
shit?
I'm directing the U.S. military to lead an emergency mission to establish a temporary pier in the Mediterranean on the coast of Gaza that can receive large shipments carrying food, water, medicine, and temporary shelters. No U.S. boots will be on the ground. A temporary pier will enable a massive increase in the amount of humanitarian assistance getting into Gaza every day.
Kill them all, Republicans. Kill them all.
And Israel must do its
they're
part.
not even human. Feed them.
Israel must allow more aid into Gaza to ensure humanitarian workers aren't caught in the
pathetic.
crossfire.
They
They're
can't
announcing
stand
they're
and
gonna-
clap for humanitarian aid to
They're
sick,
gonna have a crossing
dying
in
women
northern
and children,
Gaza.
dog.
To the leadership
Wow.
of Israel, I say this. Humanitarian assistance cannot be a secondary consideration or a bargaining chip. Protecting and saving innocent lives has to be a priority. As we look to the future, the only real solution to the situation is a two-state solution over time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's why Bibi Netanyahu got into office.
I say this,
he ran on a strong two-state solution
as a
platform,
lifelong
Joe.
supporter of
You're getting
Israel.
played, dude.
My entire career, no one has a stronger record with Israel than I do. I challenge any of you here.
Oh, yeah. You
I'm the
see, he
only
wants
American
it both
president
ways,
to visit
doesn't
Israel in
he?
wartime.
Cares so
there
much
is
about
no
the people.
other path
Here's all
that
the
guarantees
missiles you need to
security and
blow them up,
democracy.
Israel.
There is no other path that guarantees Palestinians can live in peace with peace and dignity. And there's no other path that guarantees peace between Israel and all of its neighbors, including Saudi Arabia.
This is the final gasp of this
Creating stability
Palestinian
in the Middle
narrative.
East also means containing the threat.
The U.S. is
posed
just
by
not going to
Iran.
mention Palestine
That's
once
why
this is
I built
done.
a coalition of more than a dozen countries to defend international
Country non
shipping
grata.
and freedom of navigation in the Red Sea. I've ordered strikes to degrade the Houthi capability and defend U.S. forces in the region. As Commander-in-Chief, I will not
Are these guys
hesitate
gonna
to direct
stay
further
seated?
measures to protect our people and our military personnel.
We're pro-Houthi. Are the Republicans pro-Houthi? Oh, we got a little. Come on, Mike. Come on, Mike. Oh, they're not
For
that
years.
bad. They're just
I've heard many of
pirates.
my Republican and Democratic friends say that China is on the rise and America's falling behind. They've got it backwards. I've been saying it for over 4 years, even when I wasn't president. America's rising. We have the best economy in the world. And since I've come to office, our GDP is up, our trade deficit with China is down to the lowest
Thick
point
as
in over a
thieves.
decade. And we're standing up against China's unfair economic practices. We're standing up for peace and stability across the Taiwan Straits. I've revitalized our partnership and alliance in the Pacific. India, Australia, Japan, South Korea, the Pacific Islands. I've made sure that the most advanced American technologies can't be used in China, not allowing to trade them there. Frankly, for all this tough talk on China, it never occurred to my predecessor to do any of that.
You didn't do shit
I
on
want
China,
competition
dude.
with China, not conflict.
That was one of the few things
We're in
I
a
agreed with
stronger
him on when
position to
Trump
win
was
the
running.
conflict of the 21st century against China
Currency
than anyone
manipulation.
else
He didn't do
for
shit about
that
it.
matter, than any time as well.
Kissed Xi
Here at
Jinping's
home,
ring.
I've signed over 400 bipartisan bills, but there's more to pass my unity agenda. Strengthen penalties on fentanyl trafficking. You don't want to do that, huh? Pass bipartisan
Yeah, they
privacy
don't,
legislation
Joe.
to protect our children online.
They don't.
Harness the promise of AI to protect us from peril.
Stop sending them invites. They don't want to come to the party,
Ban
Joe.
AI voice impersonations and more. And keep our truly sacred obligation to train and equip those we send into harm's way and care for them and their families when they come home and when they don't.
Yeah, fuck those families. Right, Mike?
That's why the song Support and Help of Dennis and the VA, I signed the PACT Act. One of the most significant laws ever, helping millions of veterans exposed to toxins.
Now fuck them
Who
veterans
now
too,
are
huh?
battling more than
Wow.
100 different
Children,
cancers.
the elderly, veterans.
Many of them don't come home, but we owe them and their families.
Can't even give them a little.
support.
Can't even give them one of these.
We owe it to ourselves to keep supporting our new health research agency called ARPA-H. And
Cut it.
remind us,
Cut it. Can't wait to cut it.
remind us that we can do big things, like end cancer as we know it.
Oh,
and
cancer's
we will.
pretty profitable. Can Mike stand up against cancer? Please tell me Mike is not pro-cancer. Okay, we get a little, oh, thank God.
Let me close with this.
I guess cancer's bad. I guess cancer's bad.
I know you don't want to hear any more, Lindsey, but I got to say a few more things. I know it may not look like it, but I've been around a while. When you get to be my age, certain things become clearer than ever. I know the American story. Again and again, I've seen the contest between competing forces in the battle for the soul of our nation. Between those who want to pull America back to the past and those who want to move America into the future. My lifetime has taught me to embrace freedom and democracy, a future based on core values that have defined America: honesty, decency, dignity, equality.
The antithesis of both of these
parties. To give everyone a
parties.
fair shot, to give hate no safe harbor. Now, other people my age see it differently. The American story of resentment, revenge, and retribution, that's not me. I was born amid World War II, when America stood for the freedom of the world. I grew up in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and Claymont, Delaware, among working-class people who built this country. I watched in horror as two of my heroes, like many of you did, Dr. King and Bobby Kennedy, were assassinated. And their legacies inspired me to pursue a career in service.
It's a good speech.
I left the law firm and became a public defender because my city of Wilmington was the only city in America occupied by the National Guard after Dr. King was assassinated because of the riots. And I became a county councilman almost by accident. I got elected to the United States Senate when I had no intention of running at age 29.
my God.
Then vice president of our first black president. Now president to the first women vice president.
Really? Really, Mike? Women don't belong there, huh, Mike? Women and black people, they shouldn't be there, huh, Mike? We can't stand and clap for that one, huh?
In my career,
God, that's pathetic.
I've been told I was too young. By the way, they didn't let me on the Senate elevators for votes sometimes. Not a joke. And I've been told I'm too old. Whether young or old, I've always known what endures. I've known our North Star. The very idea of America is that we're all created equal and deserves to be treated equally throughout our lives.
Oh, we got a nod.
We've never fully lived up to that idea,
one.
but we've never walked away from it either. And I won't walk away from it now. I'm optimistic. I really am. I'm optimistic, Nancy.
Yeah.
My fellow Americans, the issue facing our nation isn't how old we are, it's how old are our ideas. Hate, anger, revenge, retribution are the oldest of ideas. But you can't lead America with ancient ideas that only take us back. You lead America, the land of possibilities. You need a vision for the future and what can and should be done.
Okay.
Tonight you've heard mine.
He made some concrete promises.
I see a future where defending democracy, you don't diminish it. I see a future where we restore the right to choose
Did he
and
just
protect
shake
our
his
freedoms,
head to
not
defending
take them away.
democracy?
I see a future where the middle class finally has a fair shot and the wealthy have to pay their fair share in taxes. I see a future where we save the planet from the climate crisis.
Show me the tax increases on
and
the
our
rich,
country
Joe.
from gun violence. Above all, I see a future for all Americans.
Yeah, maybe.
I see a country for all Americans. And I will always be president for all Americans because I believe in America. I believe in you, the American people. You're the reason we've never been more optimistic about our future than I am now. So let's build the future together. Let's remember who we are. We are the United States of America. And there is nothing beyond our capacity
Not anymore.
when we act together. God
Mike,
bless
you
you
can't
all,
get up for that.
and may God protect our troops. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Wow. And the fascist stays seated for most of that. Wow. So just a quick recap, guys. Republicans hate children, hate the elderly, hate veterans, hate runaway costs. You know, I mean, fill in the blank. Fill in the blank. The only thing Mike wanted to stand for was, killing Gazan citizens, it seems.
Donald Trump not mentioning him by name, but trying to create a story.
So where was this? Yeah, I missed a few. I know I should have kept a list. But I mean, the things that the Republican Party refused to stand for now shock me. It's absolutely shocking. Standing directly against the people that vote for them. Oh. Well, I heard Trump was doing some kind of live stream. I have to get rolling here. I got family to take care of. I want to see, let me see some of the responses here. Let's see what Fox has to say. This ought to be good.
Look, he said, I'll come and campaign.
Okay, Fox isn't commenting on it. They're just showing a live. Let's see what MSNBC has to say.
Come on now.
Okay, MSNBC doing the same thing. No Trump live stream, huh? So he was just blowing smoke. He was just lying. Oh, wow. Look at the thumbnail that they decided. All right, let's see what the Daily Wire has to say.
Is provided for under the Constitution of the United States so that the president can from time to time inform the Congress of the latest developments inside the executive branch. That is the goal.
Did you
Instead,
like and share this live stream?
The usual phrase you start with the State of the Union is strong, whatever.
53%
Didn't
said
even get to
no.
that until like 12 minutes into the speech. And the entire opening of the speech was about how his fellow Americans are terrible and evil and corrupt and
What?
vicious.
That wasn't the speech? What are you talking
And
about?
they're particularly because of Ukraine. And there's so many
He barely
problems logically with the speech. I mean, first of all, he starts with there have been a lot of attacks on democracy, and then he leads with Ukraine and January 6th. He saved all the Israel stuff, which is an attack on a democracy, by the way, by a terrorist.
Wow, okay, wow.
The Israelis for not being nice enough to the Palestinians and talks about how did you guys know that we're going to build a pier? I'm excited as an American taxpayer. I'm really excited to build like a pier. Can we put it like a Ferris wheel, maybe like a merry-go.
Oh, wow. Okay, I can't. I'm sorry. I really can't do it. I'm not going to watch. I just can't do it. Any commentary from Fox here? No. Okay. No commentary. I just wanted to get a little commentary here. 1 second here. Let me get my illegal. I'm going to do something slightly illegal here. Sorry. But I want to see what. Okay. Is CNN doing a thing? Let's see if we can watch CNN International here. They're writing their spin AI to process the speech.
That is not only important because I don't remember that ever happening in this kind of speech, but because of what predecessor denotes.
I mean,
and that's in the past.
What's so striking to me is that Republicans, I think because they, their whole thing right now is that Joe Biden is slow, that he's too old, that he can't do this, they walk into this trap every time.
What trap?
That the White House sets for them. Their speaker, Mike Johnson, tried to counsel them not to heckle, not to react in this way, and they did it.
They're focusing. It's all about the heckling. Okay, yeah. I mean, the heckling is one thing, guys. Yeah, that. But how about the substantive nature of the speech, huh?
My predecessor, and then he gets to like the size of chip bags, and then finally right after
shrinkflation's not a joke. They're making fun of shrinkflation. Shrinkflation is affecting Americans every single day who go to the grocery store. It's a joke to these guys.
Lincoln,
you call
with
Lincoln
a big fucking stogie. Shrinkflation, what a joke!
And then he starts jabbering like, and how many thousands have been killed by illegals? So he's just downplaying the crime, right? That's literally what he yelled back at the Congress when MTG.
He literally held up the pin that MTG gave him.
Pronounces the name. And then he says, and she was killed by an illegal, pissing off his entire left flank because you're not allowed to say the word illegal if you're on the left. And then he follows.
No, that's a misconception.
Have been killed by illegals. The implication, of course, being that everybody is overestimating the amount of crime from illegal immigrants. So that's like 3 screw-ups.
What the hell is up with all the snacks? Are these fucking, what do these guys, what do they want, diabetes? Look at this table filled with fucking candy.
That screaming. I think they're going to remember the sound of that voice just scolding everybody and yelling at everybody. And, you know, who the hell is he to do that? What has he accomplished? That he should be yelling at us for being unhappy that the price of food has gone up 35% since he took office, and the value of the dollar is lower than it's been.
He was being booed for talking about legislation to combat just that by your party.
I totally agree with you, by the way. The screaming is going to be the takeaway. And
the screaming? What? Screaming? What? Joe Biden didn't scream. What?
That debate, that was terrible for Trump. It was the second debate. And Trump came out really aggressive. He came out super hot. And he was like talking over Biden, just kept jumping in, talking over Biden. And finally, Biden kind of turned to the camera and went, oh, shut up.
No, he said, can you shut up, man? People loved him for that.
He was being very loud. And loudness is irritating and annoying. The one who is being loud right now, he's out louding Donald Trump. He's currently running the worst reelect campaign we have ever seen.
He's
this
too
is a
loud,
truly
guys.
awful reelect campaign.
He's too loud.
He is bound by the strictures of who he is.
Please tell me you got something better
what
than
else,
this,
what's his skill set?
Shapiro.
What's left in the bag? Seriously, what's in the bag of tricks? It can't be his policies. His policies suck. It can't be his charm,
I don't know,
because he's
that
not
was
charming at
pretty
all.
solid
It certainly can't be
policies.
his energy level because he's dying. And so what we end up with is the old man raging against.
Wow, dude! I mean, it's just he old man raging, screaming, yelling. Was he watching a completely different thing?
That was a.
It actually was a shockingly long speech. There's a lot of talk going in.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. It's like 1/3 the size of a Trump speech, dude. Wow. Up is down, left is right. I mean, wow. Just completely recontextualizing what we just watched. That was a pretty snappy fucking State of the Union. Holy shit. He wasn't yelling. And what the fuck?
Yeah.
I think that he spent 8 years of his life telling the fable of Barack Obama.
Right.
I honestly think that he just lapsed into the wrong fable as his own biography.
Wow.
No, that's actually the thing that Trump does, dude, with Trump calling Biden Obama all the time. Wow, man. Wow. I mean, is this intentional? Is this like a thing did they plan this out? Did they talk amongst them? So we're going to tweak it this way. They just do this naturally
but Joe
off
Biden is
the
our
cuff.
tale teller in chief, as the New York Times put it. You know, it's okay because he's just telling tales. They're meaningful.
I will say that I personally enjoy the new trend now of shouting at the president during the State of the Union. I think it's great.
Like British Parliament,
Really?
right?
Really?
Yeah, exactly. And also,
Really? You think
like,
this clown is going to be perfectly okay if AOC lobs a little slander towards Trump up at the State of the Union? Really? You think this fucking hypocrite is going to be cool with that? Oh, I can't believe the state of things. Oh, I can't believe the decorum, the lack of decorum. Look at the lack of class. Look at how angry and shouty they are. They're literally trying to say Joe Biden is being shouty, and they're like, oh, I really like this trend of shouting at the president. I think this is really great. Really? 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 Like I said, you think these guys would have been, oh yeah, AOC, she's not allowed to talk to the president that way. She should have been escorted out of the room and fired from her position.
I was sorry he didn't tear up the speech at the end. You know, like let him come after him.
Make it a paper airplane, like just do some origami.
Yeah. So here, I really wish we had the theatrics that Pelosi had. Remember those theatrics that we criticized Pelosi for? I really wish Mike Johnson would have done that. That would have been really great. Wow, man, and people just watch that shit 24/7, dude. They just fucking put that shit in their brain, dude. I can't fucking believe people do that shit to themselves, man. Holy shit. People just watch the fucking Daily Wire, huh? And they just absorb that information and then go out and live like people. That's crazy, dude. Whoa. It's just I can't watch 5 minutes of it, dude.
Union, I have not ever seen that Democrats having that chant multiple times. And, you and I
okay, they're talking about the chants. They're talking about the fucking the decorum in the, okay, whatever. whatever. That's all I got the time for. I got to walk the dog. I got to take care of the kid. I got a million other things I got to do. My takeaway of the speech, if you're curious, let me just give you my takeaway of the speech here really quick before I let you go. I thought it was a good speech. He delivered exactly what I wanted to see, which was some concrete promises, right? Some like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to change this. I really, really loved the consistent calling out of the fascists. He wasn't as, he wasn't as straightforward as I would have been. He's still way too buddy, way too pal-pally. I loved the fact checking and the pushback to the hecklers, in real time. He didn't allow them to trip him up. He in fact was bouncing off them and making them look like idiots. So I think overall I give it like C+, B-, right? In terms of speeches, there wasn't a lot of gaffes. I didn't hear any shouting. What is Ben Shapiro talking? Oh, everyone's going to be talking about the shouting. Everyone, that's going to be the main focus, is the shouting of Joe Biden. What are you talking about? I didn't notice any. I really didn't. I don't understand what analysis where even they're coming from with this. Like it's like they watched a different speech. But whatever. I don't care about their opinions. My opinion, it was a pretty decent speech. I'm no fan of the neoliberal Joe Biden. But with that said, where was this guy 3 years ago? You know what I mean? Well, how come this wasn't the attitude day one? We had to wait for it to get this bad for a little common sense to creep out of the neoliberal. Like only it had to be an election year, right? We're saving this up for an election year, I guess. Is that what we're doing? Whatever. He better fucking deliver on some of this shit. But who knows? We won't know until after the presidential election if he'll deliver. Because he should be delivering on this shit right now, right before the election. But no, we got to wait till after the election to see what kind of goodies he wants to actually give us. But anyway, there you go, folks. There's my comments on the State of the Union. Thank you so much. This is the News Underground. I am Abandoned Nihilism, a.k.a. the Harbinger. Thank you if you've watched it. Ice King from Space, thank you for being here for the whole State of the Union. It was great to have you in the chat. Big props to you, Ice King of Space, sticking around. Flame Aeon, thank you so much over there at Kick. Ribbons, thank you for stopping in. Very much appreciate it. If you're lurking out there, if you're lurking and just watching us, thank you so much for lurking. Big props to you, Borderline, Feline, and Your Tubing. Thank you, Your Tubing, for sticking around through most of the stream. Looks like you were here for most of it. Thank you, Your Tubing. John Axel was here for most of the stream. Thank you, John Axel. Yeah. So, I mean, there's nothing else. You've heard all of my comments about it. I want to leave with something positive, but I can't really think of anything positive at the moment to say right now. I just can't believe people watch. The Daily Wire immediately kicks into this alternate reality, kicks into this alternate narrative immediately, and it's like, how can it not be calculated? How can it not be something that they're like working out beforehand? But somehow it just flows naturally. So weird. Anyway, folks, this is the News Underground. Peace in that motherfucking Middle East. Glory to the Ukrainian democracy. Take care of yourself. We'll see you tomorrow. Bunch of sparks, free falling. Bunch of sparks. Big props, Ice King. It's News Underground, bitch. It's the News Underground. No bones to open this joint, man. News Underground, man.